And we are back, and more information regarding the orders from Yahshua and what he instructed before his ascension. It is very important for us to understand what he meant. And also previously, before he came, was Yohanan ben Zechariah and what he did. And he was in the wild also. And he was a person preparing the path for the coming of Yahweh Yeshua. And there were reasons why he was to be in the wild and not to be mixed with the people. Primarily because if a person has the least understanding of the scriptures regarding the city of Jerusalem and what the perimeter was and where it came from, a person can easily understand that the city was contaminated, the gates were opened, and they were not doing their job because they forgot they were the set apart people. They were to be in their places, and those gates, they had to be closed. So then the people would be drawn from the outside in a camp, and then there would receive teaching. So then a person can understand what it meant, because there were a lot of people that were from the tribe of the Levites, and those were in charge of the services. And obviously there were also people in the city that were there protected. But then later, in a gradual sense, because of sin, it became contaminated. And not only the people that they were in the city, they were to be set apart, but then with no sin. This was the original plan. And then later came people from other nations, came people from the outside, and those people, they were not invited, and they became a mixed match of people going in and going out, and then tax people, charging the people to go in. It wasn't a very nice place. And that's why Yohanan was then told to be outside. And there he was, and he was living from the land, he was drinking from the land, he was eating from the land, and then there he taught the scriptures. So there he was, preparing the way for the Mashiach. And then the Mashiach came. And also the Mashiach had to confront a lot of problems that Yohanan didn't, because he was told to be outside. But then Yahshua had to do his part. He went in the city and he tried to clean it up as per original plan. Because he did understand, in order for the functions of Ruach HaKodesh to come and to be given properly, so then they would go out in groups, then the city had to be closed. No sin in the city. And that's why he spent 490 days in the ministry. Not only in the city itself, we understand, because he went in a circuit in many other places, we understand, but his main primary focus was of the lost of Israel. And he went through the city and he explained what should be there and what shouldn't be there, and what people should be in the city and what not. He went through in details. After 1,000 years rehearsing, he would not do otherwise. So then comes the point of speaking of the truth, and he was the vine, producing fruit, producing works of justice. This is what he meant, doing works of justice. It is a similitude of the field, and then producing works of justice. So then every branch that is in me that does not produce fruit, then the cultivator, the Father Yahweh, he takes it away. So then we understand, and the basic reason why Israel came into existence was then for later to go out and form holy lands around the world. They were to be teaching those who were lost as they were lost. And so far as we understand it, it was not done very much of it. And an example is in Romans, when the Shaul was speaking of the government. And then later, then those that would be placed in a camp for further training, they had to produce fruit. So then what is the similitude with this understanding? Is regarding the saved Hebrew brothers. They were saved in Mashiach for a reason. They are not only to be saved and enjoying themselves in this perverted, condemned world, because then they are condemned with it. They are to set up camps as per instructions of Moses. And then in Matthew 23rd chapter, from the 1st to the 3rd verses, whatsoever Moses said for you to do and observe, these do and observe, except the takanot maasim. And that's why there are Jews. Jews are a mixture of the holy laws and takanots and maasims. Hebrews, however, they are from the first. So this is what Yahshua is saying. Those that are in Him, every branch that is on me or in me that does not give fruit, does not produce works of justice, then He takes it away. Then He prunes that it might give more fruit to those that are bearing fruit. And what kind of works of justice or fruit that the saved Hebrew brothers could give? What kind of a fruit, what kind of works of justice would they be given? Other than obeying what Moses said for them to do, because they are the set apart. They are from the set apart from the desert. They are not goys. And don't think those saved brothers, then when they come to Yahshua, then they are released from the damn covenant. They are very wrong. They are not released from the previous covenant. They are indebted to this covenant until the end. Whosoever breaks the covenant must pay with their lives. This is what the damn covenant means. And the Creator is never wrong. What is disgusting is having these Hebrew brothers saved, going around reading the Torah. And they read it, and don't understand what they are reading. Or they are making themselves stupid and then to scoundrel themselves in the world. There is a time and a place. And the reason why Yahshua saved them was for them to bear works of justice. And because they are set apart yet under a damn covenant, they must do what Moses said for them to do and observe. Set up camps. Set up the tabernacle, set up the tents, and then from there the 12 tribes. Do what Moses said for you to do. And in the later times would come those that are thinking they have Elohim, but then they deny the power. It's a form of Elohim, but then they deny the power. Where is the power? Came from Ruach HaKodesh. Where is Ruach HaKodesh? Is He living in the lives of those that are disobedient? No, He lives in a camp. And He gave functions. Whosoever is against these teachings already given before, this is only a sharing of a reminder. Whosoever is against it is condemned. those Hebrew brothers wealthy with land, if they don't do what Moses said to do, they are lost. Because Yahshua can't save them. The reason why he can't is because they are under a damn covenant. Yahshua is not going to save them from what the Father told them to do. That's why they are condemned. They die, they go to the first death, not the guys. The guys are not going to the first death if they are obedient. Because they were not drawn in the camp for further training. That's why Yahshua said, those that the Father draws from the outside, place them in a camp for further teaching. But then also the guys, they have their own part in it. They must encourage the saved Hebrew brothers wealthy, and they should go out and build camps. This is where the church is at. Not outside mixed with the pagan junk that came from Constantine, making this world their own kingdom, and obviously it's not working. Watch the morals of our country. From a country that was extremely wealthy back then after the war, and then we are nearly ruined. So this is what Yahshua said. Those that came to him must produce fruit. There is a condition. We are in him, we must produce fruit. We must produce works of justice. Doing the mundane, every day doing the same. Every Shabbat is the same junk. They go to this place and they read, and they do not obey what Moses said to do. It is junk. There is no purpose. The Torah is holy, the words are holy, but not from the mouths from those that are disobedient. Then Yahshua, then later, from many other teachings. And then there are other types of teachings that we are not made for eating and drinking, but produce works of justice. So we should soberly think of these. The goys and also the saved Hebrew brothers, because the main weight of the situation is upon the saved Hebrew brothers. They are continuing being the set apart people, and they are not to be mixed with the world. They are to be in a camp. It was a huge mistake what was done in the past, because the city was disobedient. They should have maintained what they were doing. The only change was Yahshua came in the form of Yahweh Yeshua. Then the dam of animals, those were completed. No longer sacrifices of animals. The rest should have continued, because it was the shadow prophetic of the first. This is where the church is at, in the Kadosh Kadoshims of every of those camps. And then in Shavuot was given the nearing spiritual line. So then the guys saved outside would be relinked, would be born again, and then linked with the spiritual line. And at the moment it went in disrepair. Whosoever does not understanding of this topic of the camps, they are condemned and lost. I don't care if it's the president of the country or the other countries or the other kingdoms. If they don't have the understanding of the camps, then they are lost and condemned. Because each part must do its share. Was it not what Shaul said? And the functions, they are distinct tasks, each doing its own portion. Save the Hebrew brothers. They are wealthy, they have resources, they were there for a reason. Build camps. So then the functions of then Ruach HaKodesh can be exercised. And then the senses. And then the guys, they get trained and teach more and more and more. And the teaching comes from the people from the camp. The rest, they are only sharing their faiths. So then this nonsense going on outside of the world can halt a bit. This is nonsense. Prophets that are not prophets. They have a divine, demonic influence in their lives. They are not teaching properly. They take pieces of the renewed covenant and they go on their own. Teaching junk, impartation junkies. What they are doing is manipulating demons in the lives of the people, and they get worse every time they get involved with them. Or have you ever noticed when people are involved with these false anointings from these crazy people out there, then after a short while later they get worse? Does not give you a hint that you were dealing with demons instead? This is what Yahshua was saying. Those that are in Him, they must produce works of justice, each to his own. Myself, at the moment, sharing with you revelations and understandings from of old. Only sharing because those were given, but came the anointing. Very grateful for, in a form of the influence of Ruach HaKodesh. The Hebrew brothers, they are saved, wealthy, they have their part. They must build camps. And then the rest of us guys, we encourage the others. Much more coming up.